Welcome to this explainer. You know, when we look back at the grand sweep of human history, it's super easy to focus just on kings, battles, and empires. But what if I told you that the real main character of history is actually geography, right? Today, we're diving into the Indian subcontinent to see exactly how mountains, rivers, and deserts literally shaped one of the oldest and most vibrant regions in the world. Let's get into it. Here's our flight itinerary for today's tour. We're going to see how geography shapes our history, check out the northern mountain wall, compare the plains and the Thar Desert, cross the Great Deccan Plateau, explore the coasts and island outposts, and finally, define the Indian subcontinent as a whole. All right, starting off with Section 1, Geography Shapes Our History. We're looking at the absolutely inseparable link between humans and our environment. Notice how your environment literally decides what's for dinner. I mean, think about it. The lifestyle in hilly regions, super strenuous. Because fertile land is scarce up there, folks historically had to rely on hunting and gathering just to survive day to day. But down on the plains, it's a totally different story. You've got this plentiful lifestyle where agriculture thrives on a massive scale, pumping out abundant grains and vegetables. This naturally impacts everything from the local diet to, well, how big a settlement can actually grow before it runs out of resources. And this brilliantly illustrates how everything from the clothes on your back to the very shape and structure of your house is a direct, ingenious response to your surroundings. Humans adapt their shelters based on climate and rainfall. Ultimately, our diets, our jobs, and our homes are totally dictated by geography. Villages only grow into massive towns where nature actually provides the resources to do so. Moving right along to Section 2, the Northern Mountain Wall, the Great Barrier of the Subcontinent. Now, the Hindu Kush and Himalaya mountain ranges are so unbelievably massive, they create a literal physical wall of towering, snow-capped peaks. For thousands of years, this absolute behemoth of a barrier successfully isolated the Indian subcontinent from the vast, freezing deserts of Central Asia. It acted like this giant geographical shield, letting totally unique cultures develop safely behind it. But you know, there are crucial cracks in this wall. Take the Khyber Pass, for instance. It's this winding, totally arid land route right through the mountains. Along with the Bolan Pass, these narrow little corridors served as the ancient gateway connecting the subcontinent to the famous Silk Route. Merchants traveled through here from China all the way to Arabia, trading silk and other precious goods. And hey, a door swings both ways, right? These passes were also the primary routes used by foreign travelers and early invaders to cross into ancient India. Okay, Section 3, Plains and the Thar Desert, where we look at the cradles of civilization right alongside the harsh sands. So, descending from those freezing peaks, we hit these starkly contrasting environments. Notice how the massive blue river basins stretch horizontally across the north, directly hugging the harsh yellow expanse of the Thar Desert. It's crazy how vibrant life and extreme harshness sit right side by side in this geography. These three massive river basins, the Sindhu or Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra, along with their tributaries, formed literally the most fertile agricultural land available, stretching all the way from the Sindh-Punjab region in the west over to present-day Bangladesh in the east. This incredibly well-watered land is the exact reason why the earliest Indian civilization, the Harappans, emerged right here. It's a simple equation, really. Where there's abundant water, there's abundant food. And where there's food, human civilization puts down roots and thrives. But right next door to the bustling, life-giving Ganga, the Thar Desert spreads its dry sands across modern-day Rajasthan, Haryana, Gujarat, and parts of Pakistan. It's just a really dramatic contrast, isn't it? Thriving agriculture bordering an absolute arid wasteland. And here's a fascinating historical footnote for you. Environmental degradation can completely erase a civilization. The Kagga River, which starts in Himachal Pradesh and known as the Hakra in Pakistan, used to flow right into the Thar Desert. But today, it's completely dried up. If you follow that dusty ghost channel now, you'll actually find countless ancient Harappan settlements just abandoned along its banks. When the geography changed and the water vanished, history was simply forced to pack up and move on. On to Section 4. The Great Deccan Plateau. This is the very heart of the Indian Peninsula. To truly understand this plateau's geography, we first need to define what a peninsula actually is. Basically, it's a region of land that's bound by the sea on exactly three sides. And that perfectly describes the southern, tapering wedge of the Indian subcontinent, doesn't it? It's surrounded by the Arabian Sea to the west, the Indian Ocean to the south, and the Bay of Bengal to the east. The lion's share of this massive peninsula is occupied by the Deccan Plateau. This giant, super fertile plateau is quite literally walled in by distinct mountain ranges on all sides. You've got the Vindhya and Satpura ranges capping the north. Over on the west are the Sahyadri Mountains, also known as the Western Ghats, and flanking the east are, you guessed it, the Eastern Ghats. This naturally fortified, highly fertile region was the ultimate stronghold for a lot of post-Harappan agrarian cultures, and later on it formed a vital chunk of the mighty Mauryan Empire, which was the largest in ancient India. Let's hit the edges in Section 5, Coasts and Island Outposts, looking at those ancient maritime connections. Just think about the immense length of those coastlines. To the west of the Sahyadris is the coastal region of Konkan and Malabar. This massive, totally accessible coastline allowed for incredibly vibrant sea trade with Western countries. It's wild to think that this tradition of cultural exchange and maritime commerce goes all the way back to the time of the Harappan civilization. I mean, long before land routes became the big thing, the sea was the ultimate highway. And way out off the coast lie these fascinating island outposts. In the Bay of Bengal, we have the lush Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and in the Arabian Sea, the Lakshadweep group. Their location was absolutely crucial for ancient sea trade. In fact, their maritime importance was even recorded by an unknown ancient Greek sailor in a historic manuscript called the Periplus of the Erythraean Sea, or the Handbook of the Red Sea. Geography literally made these remote islands vital pit stops for ancient global commerce. Finally, Section 6. Defining the Indian subcontinent. Let's zoom out and look at this self-contained historical world. When you combine all of these extreme environments, the snowy northern walls, the incredibly fertile river basins, the dry deserts, and the coastal plateau, they form a distinct, massive region known today as the Indian subcontinent, or South Asia. Today, this single geographic theater includes Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and India. And even though nations like China and Myanmar aren't technically part of this specific subcontinent, the ancient geography we just explored completely dictated how they interacted, traded, and shared culture with early India. So the big question I want to leave you with today is this. If geography truly is destiny, what would the history of Asia actually look like if those massive Himalayan walls had never existed? If this subcontinent wasn't a completely self-contained world, how dramatically different would human civilization be today? Think about it. Keep looking at your maps, guys. They hold the real stories of our past.